Hello everyone, my name is Jan Hong. I am from Vietnam. This is part 6 of the 1000 Why questions. Thank you all for your support. It truly means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Do you ever feel like you're playing a part even when you're by yourself? Do you find yourself asking, who am I really? Without all the labels, the job titles, the family roles, the expectations? If you've ever felt this constant, nagging need to define yourself through what you do or what others think of you, you're not alone. This journey into identity and self-worth can feel like navigating a dense fog, full of questions and very few clear answers. Today, we're going to walk through that fog together. We'll explore why we struggle to know our true selves, why we tie our value to our achievements, and how we can start to build a sense of worth that comes from within, not from the outside world. This isn't just about feeling better. It's about reclaiming who you are at your core. Let's start with a big question. Why do I struggle to define who I am? For many of us, from a young age, we're handed labels. You're a good student, a responsible older sibling, a quiet child. These labels become our first map of the world and our place in it. They're comfortable, they're easy, and they give us a sense of belonging. The problem is we can get so used to navigating with this map that we fear what would happen if we put it down. The idea of an identity without these external markers can feel terrifying. It's like being asked to describe yourself without mentioning your job, your family, or your hobbies. What's left? This fear of being nothing without our roles is a powerful force that keeps us clinging to them, even when they no longer fit or feel authentic. We've been taught to define ourselves through what we do, not who we are. This leads us directly into the trap of confusing our identity with our achievements. Did you get the promotion? Did you finish the marathon? Did you get a good grade? Our society often celebrates accomplishments, which tricks our brains into thinking that our value is directly proportional to our productivity. We start to believe that a day spent resting is a day wasted, that our worth needs to be constantly earned and re-earned through hustle and effort. This is why we measure ourselves externally. We look to our paycheck, our social media likes, or the praise from our boss to tell us how valuable we are. In a way, we're outsourcing our sense of self-worth. We're handing over the power to define our value to other people and external circumstances, which are constantly changing and completely outside of our control. This creates a fragile foundation for our self-esteem, one that can crumble at the first sign of failure or criticism. And what happens when we're told we can define our own worth? We often fear it. Why? Because it comes with immense responsibility. If your worth is self-defined, it means you can't blame anyone else when you feel worthless. It means you have to sit with yourself and decide, I am valuable just because I exist. This concept of unconditional worth can feel foreign and even unbelievable. We doubt our own value because we've been trained to see it as something conditional, something that must be proven. This doubt fuels a constant, exhausting search for validation from others. We need people to tell us we're smart, capable, or good enough because we don't fully trust our own judgment. We mistrust our own self-worth because, deep down, we might hold the belief that we have to earn love and respect. We fear that if our worth was truly unconditional, maybe we wouldn't be motivated to do anything at all, or worse, that people would see us as lazy or arrogant. This deep-seated belief that we are not inherently worthy creates a painful feeling of being undeserving. When something good happens, a little voice might whisper, "You don't deserve this." When someone is kind to us without reason, we might become suspicious. This feeling of being undeserving is the root of why we struggle with self-respect. If you don't believe you are worthy of good things, how can you demand respect from others, or more importantly, from yourself? This is why people can end up tolerating mistreatment in relationships, at work, or even from their own inner critic. We accept the love we think we deserve, and if we think we deserve very little, we'll accept very little. This isn't a conscious choice, but a subconscious pattern born from a lifetime of feeling like we have to earn our place in the world. Recognizing this pattern is the first crucial step toward breaking it. When you don't feel you deserve respect, you begin a slow, painful process of abandoning yourself. What does that look like? It looks like betraying your own needs. You say yes when you desperately want to say no. You push your body past its limits because you feel you haven't earned a break. You ignore your feelings of sadness or anger because you think they are inconvenient or wrong. Every time you do this, you're sending a message to yourself. My needs don't matter. My feelings are not valid. I am not a priority. You essentially abandon yourself, leaving your own inner child alone and uncared for. You become your own harshest critic and your own worst enemy. The inner conflict rages because one part of you is crying out for care and attention, while another part insists that you don't deserve it. This internal battle is exhausting, and it's what keeps us stuck, feeling empty and disconnected from who we truly are. So how do we begin to heal this rift? How do we come home to ourselves? It starts by challenging the core belief that our worth is conditional. It starts with a radical act of self-acceptance. This doesn't mean you stop trying to grow or improve. It means your fundamental value as a human being is not on the table for negotiation. It's a given. Start by noticing the moments you abandon yourself. When you're tired, can you give yourself permission to rest without guilt? When you're sad, can you allow yourself to feel it without judgment? These small acts of self-compassion are like laying new bricks for a stronger foundation. It's about learning to trust yourself again, to listen to your own needs, and to treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Your identity isn't something you find or achieve. It's something you uncover and embrace. The journey to building self-defined worth is not a quick fix. It's a practice. It's about making a conscious choice, day after day, to turn inward for validation instead of outward. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? What feels true for me, separate from anyone else's opinion? Start a journal and write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself, not things you've done, but qualities you possess. Maybe it's your sense of humor, your resilience, or your kindness. Begin to build a new vocabulary for your value, one that isn't tied to productivity or external praise. It will feel awkward at first. Your inner critic will scream. But with persistence, you'll start to build an unshakable inner core of self-worth. You will learn that you are not empty. You are full of potential, resilience, and an inherent value that no one can ever take away from you. Remember that you don't have to be everything to be enough. You don't have to achieve greatness to be worthy of love and respect. Your identity is not a performance. It's the quiet, steady truth of who you are when all the noise fades away. It's the person who exists beneath the roles and expectations. Getting to know that person is the greatest adventure you will ever embark on. It's the journey back to yourself, and you are absolutely, unequivocally deserving of that journey. If you're struggling with these feelings, please know that reaching out to a mental health professional can provide incredible support and guidance. You don't have to navigate this alone. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more conversations like this. Take care of yourself. Have you ever felt like you're fighting a battle within yourself? One part of you wants to wake up early, hit the gym, and eat healthy, while another part just wants to hit the snooze button and order takeout. You want to save money, but you also want that new gadget. You crave change, but you resist the effort it takes. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is the classic sign of inner conflict, a state where different parts of you are pulling in opposite directions. It's like having a war inside your own mind, and it can be exhausting. So why does this happen? Why do we want two completely opposite things at the same time? It often comes down to our core beliefs and past experiences. We might have a part of us that learned certain behaviors to keep us safe or comfortable in the past. For example, maybe avoiding challenges kept you from failing when you were younger, so a part of you still believes that avoiding effort is the best way to protect yourself. This part isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to keep you safe based on old programming. Meanwhile, another part of you, your conscious mind, sees the bigger picture and desires growth, success, and transformation. This creates a deep internal division. This division is why we so often sabotage ourselves. You set a goal, you're motivated, and then suddenly you find yourself doing the exact opposite of what you planned. This isn't because you're weak or lazy. It's because a subconscious part of you is actively working against your conscious goal. It might be a fear of success, a fear of failure, or a belief that you don't deserve what you're striving for. This is why discipline and consistency feel like such a struggle. You're not just fighting procrastination. You're fighting a deeply ingrained part of your own identity that feels threatened by the change you're trying to make. Think about it. We want results without the process. We crave transformation without the discomfort. It's a bit like wanting to be a master pianist without ever practicing the scales. The discomfort of the process, the early mornings, the difficult conversations, the challenging work is what the resistant part of us wants to avoid. It wants the reward without the risk. This internal fight is incredibly draining. You spend so much energy battling yourself that there's little left to actually move forward. This constant internal war leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and divided. So what is the root of this internal fragmentation? Why do we split ourselves into these conflicting pieces? It often stems from a fear of wholeness, a fear of integration. We are taught from a young age to categorize ourselves to be one thing. We're either good or bad, productive or lazy. When we experience feelings or desires that don't fit into our neat little boxes, we hide them. We push them down, reject them, and pretend they don't exist. We fear that if we were to accept all parts of ourselves, the ambitious part and the lazy part, the kind part and the angry part, we would be a chaotic, unlovable mess. We hide parts of who we are, not just from others, but from ourselves. This self-rejection is a huge source of our inner conflict. When you reject a part of yourself, it doesn't just disappear. It goes into the shadows and gains power. It becomes the voice of self-sabotage, the resistance to change. The more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. This is why self-judgment is so destructive. When you judge yourself harshly for feeling lazy or unmotivated, you're essentially punishing a part of yourself for trying to communicate with you. That lazy feeling might be your body's way of saying it needs rest. That fear might be a part of you trying to protect you from potential hurt. By judging it, you shut down the conversation. This is where self-compassion comes in. Self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Instead of punishing yourself internally, what if you got curious? What if, instead of saying, "I'm so lazy," you asked, "Why do I feel the need to rest right now? What is this feeling trying to tell me?" This shifts you from a state of internal war to a state of internal dialogue. You stop fighting yourself and start listening to yourself. The fear of self-acceptance is a powerful barrier. We worry that if we accept our flaws, our dark side, we will be consumed by them. We fear that accepting our anger will make us an angry person, or accepting our sadness will mean we'll be sad forever. But the opposite is true. Acceptance is the first step toward integration and wholeness. When you can look at all parts of yourself without judgment, you take away their power to sabotage you from the shadows. You can see them for what they are, different aspects of a complex, complete human being. True inner alignment doesn't mean getting rid of the parts of you that you don't like. It means bringing them all to the table and letting them have a voice. It's about creating an inner committee where every part is heard and respected. Your ambitious part can work together with your part that needs rest to create a sustainable plan for success. Your desire for change can collaborate with your fear of discomfort to take small, manageable steps forward. This is what it means to become whole. It's not about being perfect. It's about being complete. It's about ending the war inside and finally coming home to yourself. So the next time you feel that inner conflict, that push and pull, take a moment. Breathe. Instead of fighting it, get curious. Ask yourself what the opposing part wants, what it fears, and what it's trying to protect. Acknowledge it. Thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then, gently, have a conversation. This is the path to ending the internal war, to healing the fragments, and to building a foundation of unshakable self-worth based not on perfection, but on radical self-acceptance. It's a journey, not a destination, but it's the most important one you will ever take. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me for the next part of our series. Follow for more. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I equate self-acceptance with stagnation? It's a common fear, this idea that if we accept ourselves as we are, we'll stop growing. We think the constant push for self-improvement is what keeps us moving forward. But what if self-acceptance isn't the finish line, but the starting block? What if accepting where you are right now is the most powerful fuel for genuine, lasting change? And then there's the fear of loving ourselves. Why does it feel so strange? For many of us, self-love has been mistakenly painted as arrogance or selfishness. We've been taught to be humble, to put others first, to the point where any act of kindness toward ourselves feels like a betrayal of that principle. We've learned to resist kindness from ourselves, to deny our own needs, and to tell ourselves our feelings aren't valid. It's a pattern of self-neglect disguised as virtue. Let's talk about that. Why do we invalidate our own feelings? Why do we distrust our own emotions? It often comes from a lifetime of being told how we should feel. Don't be sad, you're overreacting. Just be happy. Over time, we internalize these messages. We start to believe there's a right and a wrong way to feel, and that our natural emotional responses are the wrong ones. This creates a huge disconnect. We begin to live entirely in our heads, analyzing and intellectualizing everything because the realm of feelings feels like a dangerous, unpredictable territory. This disconnection isn't just emotional. It becomes physical. Why do I disconnect from my body? Why do I avoid embodiment? Our bodies hold so much wisdom. They send us signals all day long: hunger, fatigue, tension, joy. But when we don't trust our feelings, we stopped trusting our physical sensations too. We live from the neck up, treating our body like a vehicle to carry our brain around, rather than an integral part of our being. We ignore its pleas for rest, its need for movement, its craving for nourishing food. Reconnecting with the body through things like deep breathing, stretching, or just paying attention to sensation is a powerful way to come back home to ourselves. Now let's zoom out to the bigger picture of our lives. Why do we struggle so much with identity shifts? Life is all about change. We grow, we learn, we evolve. Yet we often cling to old versions of ourselves because they feel familiar and safe. This creates a deep fear of outgrowing the people and places we know. We worry that if we change, we won't fit in anymore. We fear outgrowing our relationships, our jobs, our communities. The thought is terrifying. If I become different, will I be all alone? This fear of becoming different is really a fear of being misunderstood. We are social creatures, hardwired for connection and belonging. The thought of losing that is one of our deepest anxieties. So we play it safe. We avoid rocking the boat. We fear redefining ourselves because it might mean facing judgment or rejection. We fear our own personal evolution because the current version of us, even if it's not fully aligned, at least has a place in the world. And this brings us to the core of it all, the fear of becoming authentic. Why do we fear our true self? It sounds counterintuitive, right? Shouldn't we want to be who we truly are? But authenticity is vulnerable. It means showing up without the masks, without the pretenses. It means allowing ourselves to be seen, flaws and all, and that can feel incredibly risky. What if people don't like the real me? What if I don't like the real me? This inner conflict is the human experience. It's the tug of war between the safety of who we've always been and the calling of who we are becoming. It's the battle between the external expectations we've absorbed and the internal truths that are waiting to be heard. So what's the path forward? It begins with asking these questions without judgment. Instead of, why am I like this? Try a gentler, more curious, I wonder why I feel this way. It's about recognizing that these fears are not your fault. They are protective mechanisms you developed for very good reasons. They helped you survive. The work is to gently show these protective parts of you that you are safe now, that you can handle being different, that you can survive being misunderstood, that you can build new communities of belonging that celebrate your authentic self. It starts with small acts of self-trust, listening to a feeling instead of dismissing it, honoring a need instead of denying it, taking one tiny step toward a change that scares you, Self-acceptance is not stagnation. It's the solid ground from which you can leap. Self-love is not arrogance. It's the nourishment you need to grow. And your true self isn't someone to fear. It's the person you were always meant to be. The journey of returning to yourself is not a straight line. There will be moments of fear and doubt. But with every question you bravely ask, and every small act of self-kindness you offer, you are reclaiming your power and stepping more fully into your own life. You are not alone in this. We are all figuring it out, one step at a time. If these questions resonated with you, know that you're on the right path. Keep going. If you're struggling with these feelings, please know that reaching out for professional help is a sign of incredible strength. Talking to a therapist or counselor can provide you with the tools and support to navigate these deep waters. You don't have to do it alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing for more. I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I cling so tightly to old identities? Even when they no longer fit, we hold on. We might be afraid of letting go of those familiar labels. Who am I without them? This fear of being undefined can be paralyzing. It's strange, isn't it? We say we want freedom, but we often fear the very freedom of identity. The idea of becoming fluid, of constantly evolving, can feel terrifying. Why do we fear choosing who we are? It's because choosing means taking responsibility. This brings up a huge concept, self-authorship. Why do we resist writing our own story? Why do we fear creating ourselves from the ground up? It's because with creation comes responsibility. When you are the author of your identity, there's no one else to blame if you don't like the character you've become. This fear of responsibility for our own identity is a major reason we stay stuck. We might think we want to become fully ourselves, but a part of us is terrified of what that even means and what it will require of us. This internal battle often leads to a profound sense of disconnection. Why do I feel disconnected from myself? It's a question that echoes in the minds of so many. This isn't just a vague feeling. It can manifest as feeling fragmented inside, as if you're made up of different, conflicting pieces. You might feel divided, pulled in 100 different directions. This inner division is exhausting, and it's the breeding ground for feeling inauthentic. And that feeling of inauthenticity is a heavy burden to carry. You start to feel fake, like you're just playing a part. This is the heart of imposter syndrome, the persistent fear that you'll be exposed as a fraud. It's not just about your career or skills, it's about your very being. You might feel like you're not a real person, just an actor who forgot their lines. This constant performance leaves you feeling completely ungrounded. When you feel ungrounded, it's like trying to build a house on shifting sand. You feel unstable internally. There's no solid core to hold on to. This instability naturally leads to being unsure of who you are. The question, who am I, isn't a philosophical curiosity anymore. It's a painful, confusing reality. And when you're unsure of who you are, it's incredibly easy to feel lost within yourself. It's like being a tourist in your own mind, with no map and no guide. So let's trace this back. We cling to old identities because they feel safe. The known, even if it's painful, often seems better than the unknown. We fear letting go of labels because they give us a box to fit into, a way to be understood by ourselves and others. We fear being undefined because a blank canvas can be overwhelming. Where do you even start? This fear of freedom is paradoxical. We crave it, yet we build our own cages to protect ourselves from it. The idea of being fluid like water sounds beautiful, but it also sounds chaotic and out of control. We want solid ground, and the act of choosing who we are, moment by moment, requires conscious effort. It's easier to just go with a pre-written script, one given to us by our family, society, or our past selves. Resisting self-authorship is resisting the ultimate creative project, you. It feels safer to be a character in someone else's play than the lead in your own. And when we resist this process, that's when the disconnection deepens. You feel separated from your own core, your own desires, your own truth. You feel fragmented because you're trying to be multiple things for multiple people, or you're holding on to pieces of past selves that contradict your present reality. This division isn't just a feeling. It's a state of inner civil war. Your heart wants one thing, your mind another, and your past actions a third. This internal war is what makes you feel so inauthentic. You're not living in alignment. You're saying yes when you mean no. You're smiling when you want to cry. You're pursuing a goal you don't even care about. This creates that feeling of being a fake, an imposter in your own life, and you are constantly on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop, for someone to see through the facade. Living this way makes it impossible to feel grounded. You have no anchor. Your sense of self becomes wobbly and unstable. Every small criticism, every failure, can feel like an earthquake that threatens to topple your entire identity. This is why you feel so unsure of who you truly are. You've been looking at a reflection for so long, you've forgotten what your own face looks like. You feel lost within yourself, searching for a home that seems to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But here's the most important thing to remember. Asking these questions is the first step out of the maze. The fact that you are aware of these feelings, the fragmentation, the inauthenticity, the fear means you are already on the path to becoming whole. The fear of creating yourself is natural. The fear of responsibility is human. The feeling of being lost is a sign that you are ready to be found. The journey to becoming fully yourself isn't about finding a final, static identity. It's about embracing the process of becoming. It's about having the courage to let go of old labels, to sit with the discomfort of being undefined for a while, and to slowly, intentionally, start making choices that feel true to you right now in this moment. It's about integrating the fragmented pieces, not by forcing them together, but by understanding why they exist and what they need. It's about giving yourself permission to be the author, the artist, and the masterpiece all at once. This is not easy work. It requires courage, patience, and a lot of self-compassion. If these feelings are overwhelming, please remember that seeking support from a therapist or a counselor is a sign of incredible strength. They can provide tools and a safe space to navigate this complex inner world. You don't have to do it alone. Have you ever felt like a chameleon, constantly changing your colors to blend in with the people around you? You find yourself mirroring their opinions, their mannerisms, even their tastes, and then later, when you're alone, you wonder, who am I really? This experience of losing yourself in social situations, of adapting so much that you feel disconnected from your own core, is more common than you think. It often stems from a deep-seated desire to belong, a fear that your true self might not be accepted. So you shape-shift. You might say yes when you mean no, or laugh at a joke you don't find funny. You might even betray your own deeply held beliefs just to fit in, to avoid the sting of rejection. This constant performance is exhausting, isn't it? It's like you're holding your breath, waiting for permission to just be you. The fear of standing alone, of defining who you are without external validation, can feel terrifying. It's the fear of looking in the mirror and not needing anyone else to tell you who you see. This fear often leads to a struggle with inner authority. You doubt your own judgment, your inner compass feels broken, and you find yourself constantly looking to others to make decisions for you. It's as if you've outsourced your own life, letting friends, family, or partners tell you what you should want, what you should do, and who you should be. The idea of trusting yourself completely, of having that inner certainty, feels like a distant dream. But why? Why is it so hard to trust the one person you'll be with your entire life? Yourself? This pattern often starts in our early years. We learn that approval and love are conditional, that we get rewarded for being a certain way. So we learn to perform. We learn that it's safer to adapt than to be authentic. This creates a deep inner conflict. A part of you yearns to be seen and loved for who you truly are, while another part is terrified that if you show your true self, you'll be left all alone. This isn't just about making choices. It's about the very foundation of your self-worth. The fear of making your own rules, of living by your own values, is really a fear of self-respect. It's the fear that if you finally draw a line in the sand and say, "This is me, this is what I stand for," you'll have to take responsibility for that person. You'll have to show up for them, defend them, and honor them even when it's hard. It feels easier to just go with the flow, to let others define the boundaries. But living this way leaves you feeling fragmented, misaligned, and ultimately not whole. Let's talk about that feeling of not being whole. It's like you're a puzzle with missing pieces, and you keep trying to jam in pieces from other people's puzzles, hoping they'll fit. But they never do they? The journey to wholeness, to inner alignment, is about finding your own missing pieces. It's about turning inward and listening to that quiet voice you've been ignoring for so long. It's about learning to become your own best friend, your own trusted guide. So how do we begin to change this? The first step is simple awareness, just noticing when you're doing it. The next time you're with people, pay attention. Are you agreeing just to agree? Are you changing your opinion to match theirs? Don't judge yourself for it. Just notice it. This simple act of observation is incredibly powerful. It's like turning a light on in a dark room. Suddenly you can see the patterns clearly. The next step is to start small. You don't have to make a huge declaration of independence overnight. Try expressing a small, true preference. Maybe it's choosing the movie you actually want to see, or honestly saying you're not in the mood for a certain activity. Each time you honor a small truth, you're building the muscle of self-trust. You're teaching yourself, slowly but surely, that it's safe to be you. You're gathering evidence that the world won't end if you don't conform. Think of it as an experiment. You are a scientist in the lab of your own life. Your hypothesis is, it is safe and good for me to be my authentic self. Now you need to run some tests. Each small act of authenticity is a data point. Some experiments might feel scary. You might get a reaction you didn't expect. That's okay. That's just more data. It doesn't mean your hypothesis is wrong. It just means you're learning. This journey is about reclaiming your inner authority. It's about taking back the power you've given away to others. It's about learning to consult your own inner compass before asking for directions from everyone else. This doesn't mean you become rigid or stop caring about others. True connection actually becomes more possible when you're grounded in yourself. When you're not busy performing, you have the space and energy to genuinely connect with others, person to person, soul to soul. Remember, building self-worth is not about becoming perfect or getting everyone to like you. It's about liking yourself. It's about respecting yourself enough to live in alignment with your own values, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about knowing that your worth is inherent and doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. You are worthy simply because you exist. This process can be challenging, and it's okay to seek support. Talking to a therapist or a trusted mentor can provide a safe space to explore these fears and build new, healthier patterns. If you feel overwhelmed, remember that help is available. You don't have to walk this path alone. The goal is to feel whole, to feel at home in your own skin. Imagine a life where your inner world and your outer world are in harmony, where your actions reflect your beliefs, where you trust your own judgment and feel a deep sense of peace because you're living your truth. This isn't a fantasy. It's a possibility. It starts with one small choice, one moment of courage, one step back toward yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more conversations like this. You are not alone on this journey. End of Part 6. Hello everyone, I'm Jan Hong. I'm from Vietnam. Thank you so much for your support. It truly means a great deal to me and is a huge source of encouragement. See you in Part 7.